and despairing being, and all getting ground down by hopelessness and meaninglessness, and begin to think about what it means to be a human being, what it means to live on this planet, what it means to all have to work and live together globally across this whole planet, and to think of better ways of doing that. And this is not some vague kind of pie in the sky stuff. This is fundamental, essential, and necessary for us to have a future that we can look forward to rather than dread. So that is what we have to do. And that means going beyond the privileged safety and into, in terms of class, in terms of social status, in terms of all sorts of diversity, geographic diversity, you name it, religious diversity. We haven't even dared really tackle those things because they're very big things to tackle. But we must do so, and we can do so because we can meet each other in what we share, which is the same concerns about how we can actually live a good and meaningful life. So that is point number one. On the very bright side, I can tell you that this is a work in progress going on everywhere. We spent many decades developing the existential approach across Europe and the United States, but right now I am in conversations with people in the most amazing places who are working really hard to create this movement in their own countries, and that includes Iran. And I can tell you, it breaks my heart sometimes when I speak to them, because it is really very difficult in those circumstances to do that. But you know, that is what gets us back to the real meaning of thinking in existential terms, getting back to our grassroots, in our vulnerability, and in having to stand up to powers that would take us down, and finding that passion in ourselves again, and knowing that it is right to do so, and knowing that we have to find allies in doing so. It's never an individual enterprise, it's always something we do together and we cooperate in, and that is what we need to revive. And we don't have to work too hard at it, because it is reviving itself. Because there are people, as I said, in Iran, in India, in Singapore as well, in China, as we know from Louis Hoffman's work and Seifu Wang. There are people all over this earth who are discovering these possibilities, and they want to interpret these things according to their local, direct, real experience. It's not about continental dominance, rather the opposite. We need everybody from other different backgrounds, because that is how we will grow, and that is how we will take our concept to a different level in the real world. So that is something we'll keep working at. And I think amazing things are going to happen about it. In the same way in which looking at a room like this, with all of you here, just astonishes me. When I think about what it was like 40 years ago, when I first started to call myself an existential therapist, and people went, "A what? Isn't that something from the hippie era? Surely that's not a thing." Now, it is a thing, and it is a growing thing, and it is a very powerful thing, which has an identity and a life all of its own. And it comes in waves, and it goes all over, and it is unstoppable by now. So there's huge cause for optimism. And since there is huge cause for optimism, we can take on bigger problems. And this is what we have the courage to do, bigger problems. So I'll say a few things about some of the things we've done at the new school and the Existential Academy to try to tackle some of this. So we've now run a low-cost clinic for some 20 years, and Digby and I supervise trainees ourselves to teach them how to work in the low-cost clinic, and we take it very seriously. And this allows people to come from all walks of life, from all backgrounds. It's not unaffordable, they can afford it, and they deeply appreciate it. We also run courses on pastoral care. Now that doesn't sound very sexy, does it? But I tell you, that is a secret weapon. Pastoral care has been reserved for religions. All over the world this has taken place, and it has a huge amount of funding from governments. Pastoral care is available free of charge in hospitals, in schools, in prisons, and in the armed forces. And we are working very hard to create loads of existential pastoral carers, which is an amazing way of bringing the existential way of thinking about your difficulties at crucial points in your life, when you're in prison or in the armed forces, in a war, or you're in a prison, or you're in a school where you need a little help from your friends sometimes. It should be available free of charge. So we need to think creatively about how we can make things accessible. Then also, of course, we need to look at diversity. We have created, well, Digby created, an entire course on diversity, looking at not what we can offer to the poor minorities, no, the other way around. It is about what these minorities who have gone through especially difficult experiences can teach the world. We have to turn it upside down. It's not about doing the good works. It's about joining forces with all those who are alive and who have something to contribute to the future of mankind. And this we can do, my friend, this we can do. Then I am a great believer in social media. I am not afraid of the social media or the future technologies. I think they could destroy us, but if we go with them, they can help us and they can be our vehicles. Some of you may be aware that I am a YouTube creator, and I'm very proud of it. It's a weird thing to have done in my 70s, but I am greatly enjoying it. Why? Because I can speak my bloody mind instead of having to speak in academic language or to speak in hidden ways. I can address ordinary people who write to me and who need to hear how they can think differently about their problems. And what amazes me is how effective it is. People come back to me and say, "You just saved my life last night," or "I have changed my whole way of doing things because I've watched this video, and this video." I've done 1,000 videos there now, and I have never had so much feedback about any of my writing or any of the things I've put out in the world as there. And who are these people? They are people from the ages of 16 to the age mostly of 45. They are the new generation. And they say, at first they started calling me granny and things like that, and I said, "Fine, I'll be your granny." But it's not like that anymore now. It's like these people are craving these ideas. And they're not people who have gone to university or who can train to be an existential therapist, but they need these ideas to free themselves of their fears, to get out of their despair. So anyway, I think I've said enough now. The other thing that I deeply believe in is our existential movement, which I think is a wonderful, wonderful thing. Again, it is us colleagues around the world holding each other's hands and saying what it is we all believe we can do for a world in need, a world that we could all just give up on, but a world that is actually ripe for the picking, a world that has come to realize that it's going up the wrong path. And there are so many people in this world who know that that change is needed. That's why we made the Existential movie, which we're now going to show you. I hope very much that it will be clear and audible. Can we have the movie, please? And then we'll have an opening up to you for your reactions and your questions, and we can get the panelists back up and we can have a conversation.